Welcome back to another episode of the Modern Multifamily Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Wilbur, and I'm back. It's been a minute. I've settled into my new role at Apartment List, episode probably coming shortly as I share how excited I am about this team and this product. But for now, I'm really excited to be bringing the podcast back. I've got a handful of episodes already recorded, some from NAA, some separate, and today you're going to be listening to Aaron Lewis. We recorded this conversation back in April, and I'm really excited to share with you some of the learnings. He is a principal at a third-party property management company that also owns some of their deals, Essential Property Management. In this conversation, we talk family, we talk career, technology, and how they're finding markets that are still bringing them a lot of value despite the uncertainty in today's market. This is a great conversation, and I hope you enjoy. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so I'm Aaron Lewis. I am one of the principals at Essential Property Management. We're actually in our 5th year anniversary this year, this April. We've hit the 5-year mark. We are a property management company who focuses on third-party and owned assets. We're about 50-50 right now. We've just under contract in the last couple days to purchase another 130 units. So we're right about 1,000 owned, and we'll be right about another 1,000 that we third-party manage. So we're about 50-50 right now, all Metro Detroit, and just kind of continuing to grow both in the third-party space and buying properties. So that's the professional version of me. I've been on the Apartment Association for the Detroit Apartment Association as the past president. And then I also am now involved with the Washtenaw Apartment Association and representing them on the state board level for the Property Management Association of Michigan. So very excited about, the affiliates and what we've done. We did some cool things with Detroit. We were able to be the mid-size affiliate of the year. During my presidency, and we've just had some really cool go at things and really done a great job. We've got about 100,000 units in Detroit as part of the association. So it's been a really fun ride, both on a volunteer basis and my professional career. So yeah,
That's awesome. Is there an interconnection you see between business and your time with the association, whether it's brand recognition for Essential or deal flow, or is that just something that is an opportunity as a tenured member of the industry to give back and be part of building community and things like that?
I think it's got a little bit of both. I think it's nice to have our name out there. It's really nice for us as a smaller company, for me to be able to call other regionals at other properties or other VPs of other property management groups and see what they're doing. Especially as we went through COVID, it was very valuable knowing what other groups are doing and how they're handling all these unknown paths and stuff. So the resources that are there have been great. The networking has been great. I think it's good for our teams to be involved in. Our team's growth has been unparalleled with their involvement and being able to just give them resources and help them network and help them understand what that means and get them involved in committees and helping them understand. So it's been fun to watch. I think it's good for our recruiting. I don't go to these events and recruit other people's people, but people aren't stupid. They sit at the table and they see which groups are having fun. And so we go to those events and try to have fun and make our teams have fun and we're involved. So I think that there's a handful of people that really appreciate that and really grow with it. So to us, it's a no-brainer for our company to be involved in the affiliates and everything that they do. So
I like it. And I know family is a big part of your life too. I'd love to hear maybe a little bit about your family dynamic.
It is. So my wife and I have been married since 2012, which feels like forever ago. And I just turned 41 last month. We have a son who's adopted who is 7. And we're currently fostering a daughter who just went from foster to adopt. And she is going to be 2 in June. So I'm an old man with babies starting late. And I feel that some days, and other days they say it keeps you young. I don't know if I believe it yet. I'll let you guys know in about 10 years if it works or not. Love family, love what we've done. We've built a non-traditional family and had a lot of fun doing it. And wife is very supportive of crazy property management jobs and worlds and the fact that we never get to disconnect. she figured that out on our honeymoon and is 14 years later still here. So so I guess we've made it work. As some of you, as all of you know, who are in the property management industry, it's not always easy. So it's tough to disconnect at times and give family time. So we try to make that important, both for us and for our culture at Essential. It's been very important to try to be a leader that represents that and shows that to people and really provides the importance of family. One of the things I do is I take my family to DMAA and Washtenaw apartment events. We go to the Tigers game and I bring my whole family. I try to make it, there's things that they can come to, there's things that they can't come to. And it makes it nice to be able to be involved with them and have people see them as an extension of me and know who I am and what I am. And it's been fun. It's been nice to have a family industry and then my family be able to be involved in that industry as well. So
that's cool. You're 12 years into being married. You're more than a handful of years now into parenting. Have you found any great ways to balance that need to be connected with work? I totally understand what that looks like, especially being a sales leader, with being present and being where your feet are when it comes to your kids and of course your wife. Anything that works for you to find that balance, or do you just make it work?
Some of it is you just make it work and you make choices. I think what I've done sometimes is there's days that I am home at 5:00 and do dinner with my family from 5 to 6. And then when they're in bed at 7:30, I'm back on the computer and pick up those 2 hours at the end of the day or whatever it may be. So being able to do that and have some creativity there has helped. But it's hard. It's really hard. I mean, there's weekends where we're in the middle of stuff and it's tough. And you think we've got layers underneath you. It just all rolls together as a team, and I don't want to leave my teams hanging in the mud either. So we try to all separate it and divvy it out. I think we take turns pretty well. I've got 2 good partners that are supportive and help, do business together. And we take turns when we're on vacations and do stuff to try to truly disconnect. It doesn't always work, but it always seems like every time we get on vacation, one of us is going on vacation and we're trying to buy a deal or something where, there's no such thing as disconnecting. So there's some times that it doesn't, but we try to take advantage of the times that does. And we try to be very careful on our own properties, especially to make sure that if it's not important, I don't send the email at 9 p.m. I just wait, and Outlook has it where it's super simple now, where you just can click send in the morning. And if I don't need an answer tonight, I don't need to send it tonight, because it's hard because other people are just like you and I, where it's like they see it, they're going to respond to it.
Yep.
I just don't even want to put it out there. So we're pretty cautious of that and very cognizant of that in the way we treat people. Don't get me wrong. There's still 9 o'clock emails that go out sometimes and we need to know an answer and we talk and, but really try to make sure those are important things that are needed and not just running fire drills all the time with people. There's enough of those at the property level themselves than us creating them. So.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. Well, I'd love to hear. I mean, you have a really interesting perspective. You own, you manage, you've been in the industry for a long time. You're at a unique size of portfolio too. And I feel like 2024 has been a weird year so far. There's good things happening. There's also a lot of hardship right now in the industry and just in the macro economy, looking at the public markets, especially. What are you seeing? What are you feeling? I'd love to hear kind of what business looks like, what kind of headwinds and tailwinds you're facing. I just love to hear about business.
Yeah, we went through recently a little bit of I call it a right sizing. I don't know a better way to say it. We got rid of some third-party clients that didn't necessarily align with our way of thinking. For those who are in both worlds, you get that the common renter doesn't know the difference between third-party and owned. They have no clue. Your name's on the building, you're associated with it, period. And good or bad. So we had to do a little bit of right sizing and make sure that our portfolio lines up. As we continue to buy more assets in the area, our name becomes more and more important. And so we had to really work towards that. So we had to cut out some relationships that weren't necessarily working and do a little bit of quote unquote right sizing. Through that, 2024 has been good. We have some of our best site teams we've ever had. I'm really proud of our site teams and what they're doing and really rolling out. We try to be, as a smaller company, we're not the cookie cutter. I want the property manager to be the CEO of their property. I know that's cliche, but I want them to be that person. I want them to be the person who controls the financials, understands the financials, not just somebody who's a robot that clicks a button and is it in my budget or not. I want them to understand why the budget matters and have the purpose behind their job. It makes it so much easier for them. So we're really doing a lot of things to kind of coordinate that. So we're training teams and spending a lot of time just trying to make things better, bettering processes, bettering things. And we're getting awesome team involvement out of it, and it's been really exciting to watch the teams grow, watch our leaders grow, even watch our accounting team grow. Just watching different people take on new tasks. And some of that's hard in a smaller company. I'm one of the owners, but I'm also partially a regional and partially else. You wear multiple hats. And so it's nice when team members step up and really feel like they're committed to that. And we've given them some ownership and they've taken it. It's awesome. So
That's cool. I feel like right now there is a lot of just buzzword kind of happening in the industry. There's a lot of trends happening. I think a lot of people are trying to, do more with less, be more efficient, and as such, I think we're seeing some new technologies come into the space. We're hearing about like new challenges that are getting more spotlight, specifically fraud. There's been a lot more discussion, I think, at the executive level about mitigating fraud risk, and of course, centralizing not just leasing, but property admin and any task that can be taken off site. At your size and scale, Aaron, like how are you thinking about those kinds of efficiencies, whether it's technology or processes? Like what kinds of levers are you pulling right now?
Yeah, we have a good mix of sites, but some of our sites are in that weird, I call it no man's land. They're in that 100 unit where you have one office staff and one maintenance guy or gal. And that's terrible for employees. It's hard for employees to keep up. You've got one person who needs to understand leasing versus operations and management. And they need to be both and be able to wear both hats. And that's always very difficult for me. This is a little rant, but I'll go on it. I've always hated the way the industry has gone from leasing. And all of a sudden, if you're good at leasing, you're going to be a property manager. And all of a sudden, if you're good at property manager, you're going to be a regional manager. Those are three different jobs, And so we've tried to even be creative with that a little bit. We've got a gal on our team who's really good at leasing and wants to do more. And so we've turned her into marketing and business development and doing some other things that she's able to do that bridge off of her forte and not just putting her to property manager. She doesn't enjoy operations. She never did. She likes sales. So I think you have to be, I think it's being a little bit creative. Some of the smallness of us gives us the ability to do that and not be so cookie cutter. I think that's what helps with our clients as well. I think you talked a little bit about like what sets us apart when we were kind of talking prior to starting this. And I think that's one of the things that sets us apart. We treat the people that we manage third party for, I treat their properties the same way I treat my own properties. I'm giving them suggestions. I'm giving them ideas. Sure, they can say no the same way I've got other partners in our business that I say no on my ideas there. So, I think just really treating it like it's our own and really treating them more than just a number. We really try to go out of our way to make sure our clients are our partners and really do that with our teams too. We're trying to really give everybody involvement and a say in things. I want people who are thinkers and are doing creative things, especially in this market that we're in. That is tricky. Like you said, 2024 has been hard. We're starting to see on the acquisition piece, we're starting to see numbers start to make a little bit more sense. We just got quoted on debt at 5.9, which is better than 7%. Things are getting more realistic. I think there's going to be opportunity, especially in the acquisition side, and we're ready to do that, as well as hopefully take on some more good third-party clients who see eye to eye with us and want that real soft hand-holding touch of being able to be in touch with us. You can call me. It's not like we have layers of people who are unavailable and untouchable. We really try to do it as a team, and it's family I don't like, but let's call it close friends. We all get along and really push hard together to be a team, and I think it's really about team.
It totally is.
So.
It's cool hearing you kind of almost go like anti-traditional promotion path. I struggle with this one on my side of the business too, or the industry. It's so common to take a rock star salesperson, promote them into a sales manager where they just have no desire to help other people codify into great sales professionals. And you just lose such an opportunity to get return and output from somebody by like optimizing for the human. And when we first talked about having you on the podcast back like last year, you talked a little bit about just like this like people first mentality that you have, that the partners have. I think you just kind of started that narrative. I'd love to hear what it looks like to kind of scale culture and kind of how you're thinking about like the people side of the business, which is, is where the magic happens.
Yeah, can I jump to a video real quick I saw on LinkedIn the other day? Just this
Yeah.
kick this off.
Yeah. Let me share the
All
screen
right.
really quick.
So this video is courtesy of Red Bull New York team, and I just want to show it. It's a quick 40-second video. I'll go ahead and start it.
Okay. Oh, I think I saw this one when it came through. It's pouring rain and the coaches are taking off their jackets. Yeah, that's good.
I show that I think my point of that is that's leadership in 40 seconds. Nobody had to say a word. One guy steps up and does what's right, and everyone else follows. Like I think we've gotten so convoluted with how we handle leadership. It's back to the basics. It's when I'm at a site, I pick up the trash as I'm walking with the team. I don't wait for the team to pick it up. I don't walk over it. I don't, we all take care of the grounds. We've all got to do it together or we won't be successful. And I think that it's not about barking orders, and sure, it's holding people accountable, but it's also showing them how to do it. One of our regionals right now, Rochelle, she's great at that. Regional job to me is being a resource to the teams. That's what this job exists for. If we had 100 good property managers, we wouldn't have a regional. There's things that happen, turnover happens, change happens, and that's why the regional job exists. And so a lot of times we talk through that and just kind of how it looks, and really not being there to catch a problem, unless you're just catching it to help fix it. It's not catch people in mistakes. It's how can we fix this together? I can't tell you how many times you sat at the conference table and worked as a team to just fix and create, solutions to problems together, so that it's not just, here's the problem, go fix it, John. Here's the problem. Here's a couple ideas. Do you have any ideas? And let's figure out the best solution to get to the end. I mean, it's amazing when you let people talk and have space to do that. The ideas that they have. I mean, I'm not that creative all the time. I like to hear other people's ideas. A lot of times that I've been overrun ideas with that too, and it's helpful. And sometimes we take a combination of maybe my idea and somebody else's idea or two other people's idea and get the best possible solution. So really, again, it goes back to that teamwork and really just leading by example. To me, I think it's leading by example. I don't just sit in an office and fire off emails. I'm at the sites. All of our site teams probably see me once a month, if not more. Just trying to be out there. And, as we continue to grow, that may not always be possible, but it certainly will always be once every other month or twice. I'm not a sit in an office person, for one. Is part of my problem. I don't sit still, which is probably why it took us a year to do a podcast, but we'll talk about that later. But no, I like to be out and about, and you see things, and different eyes see different things at communities. And again, it's nice to catch it and talk about it and fix things in real time instead of letting them go. So yeah, I think that video just captures it in 40 seconds, and it just makes it so simple. You didn't need to say anything, and everyone followed the lead. And I think sometimes we just have to step back and remember that people are watching us. People are, learning from us, whether we want them to be or not. I learn that every day, as I have a 7-year-old and a 1-year-old. They copy everything I say and everything I do, and good or bad.
Yep.
I take work calls outside sometimes so I can talk freely. But yeah, it's I think it's important to remember the influence we have on people and not to misuse that, and really take advantage of the fact that, if people look up to you and respect you, you really can go a long ways and really build teams that are awesome. So I'm excited where that takes us. So
I feel like this is like so much easier said than done. And especially when you've been the best, like you've been the best frontline employee, you've been the best property manager, regional leasing agent. It is hard to like remove yourself and to be a servant leader. And it's hard to like table your frustration and use your positive, playful voice, even if you're pissed and someone did
Yep.
drop the ball. And for me, like I reflect back on like great managers I've had and like poor managers that I've had. And it's like really shaped who I want to be as a leader, how I want to be perceived, how I want to show up. And for you, like, I mean, you've been in the business for a long time, so this has probably like come through like a lot of trial and error. But
Right.
do you credit any specific experiences or mentors or leaders you've been been able to work with to have shaped the reality that this is such an importance for you, or how have you come to be at this point where you believe the way you believe around the importance of your people and the way that you're choosing to lead?
Yeah, I think you said you learn from the good and the bad, right? And you hopefully take the good from the good and the bad from the bad gets left behind. There are a few people that stand out. I won't list the bad people, but I will list the good. I started my career at McKinley and Albert Perez. I spent a ton of time there learning both commercial and multifamily real estate. I learned so much there in the time I was there, and just under the leadership of them and that team. I think the other place that I would say I've learned quite a bit is in the DMAA and just being connected there. There's a couple of people that I sound off as resources pretty regularly that have similar sized companies or bigger companies. And again, it's just helpful to know just to stay relevant as technology changes and everything changes so frequently. It's just nice to have people that are in your corner and not afraid. There's groups that are quote unquote our competitors, but there's nothing exclusive about what we know to do and not do. It's really comes down to people and how you treat people in my world. So the technology and other things, it's all in how you use it. And I don't think there's anything proprietary that, there's certainly things that people will spend that'll make them better. And certain, uses or not uses that'll make their teams more effective and efficient. But I think at the end of the day, it really comes down to your people on site and do they get it? And are they, understanding of the big picture? And that's why we really try to just give teams not only the budget, but also the understanding of what the owner's trying to do and the objective. I mean, different owners want to hold for 10 years. Owners want to hold for their whole life. Some may have a 3-year plan. And it's important for the teams to understand that too, because, if I'm making decisions on a building, I need to understand those. So it's helpful for them to have the full picture of what we're trying to do and why we're trying to do it. I think that's the thing we really try to push. And sometimes it takes extra time to train, but we also train in the why, right? I mean, it's easy to bark and tell people, and here's a policy, here's a procedure, but why? Why is it important? Because when it's important to you, it's important. And so just really making it important to the teams and understanding, it's not just a policy just because we want to be annoying and ask you to send a report. It's a report so that we know what's happening and don't, that spot or without a job or whatever. We can help people in real time, and see where the struggle is. Do you need help with leasing? Do you need help with collections? Do you need help with, dealing with a tough resident? Like it's helpful to know those things in real time so that again, our teams aren't stranded on an island as well. So.
One of the like business superpowers that I think is really important in a leadership role is to, your title is principal partner. You're like one of the owners of this business, but to turn everyone into a principal of the business so they can understand the inner workings of why profit matters, or the balance between growth versus responsible growth. And in your world, do you do anything, or do the partners at your business do anything to kind of share how the business is performing, kind of the why behind the activities that you're embarking on? I'd love to
Yeah.
hear how you kind of bring your team into the fold.
Yeah, so a couple different things. One is we've partnered with Swift Bunny. Shout out to Swift Bunny. Been very helpful. Not only do they help us with the surveys and in triggering those things, but then they also provide us a toolbox of resources for our teams to execute where we're weak and to fill the void where we're missing it. So that's been a great partnership for us. You talk about technology and different things. That's been a real easy one to set up, roll out, and just have teams interact with us, and it's all confidential. They can tell me they think Aaron's an idiot and I don't know who it is. I always joke with them about that, and I've gotten a few of those, but I think just to test it, I hope they don't think I'm an idiot. But no, yeah, we've used that strategically. We also do a lot of just meetings. We're small enough where we do a lot of meetings corporately, local. We do a strategic planning once a year with our leadership team, really understanding where we're headed as a business and what we're doing. I mean, it's part of like this whole right sizing, right? We had to kind of go through what clients are taking so much of our time, what are representing us well, what are not representing us well, who's paying the bills, who's not paying the bills, is the trash shut off at this property because I don't want my name on the building if the trash isn't getting picked up, all those types of things. So we do spend a lot of time really including the teams and the feedback. It'd be naive for me and my business partners to sit here and make a decision for companies based on the people our teams are dealing with every day. So really getting their buy-in and their understanding of where things stand helps us a lot make decisions. And not that we're just gonna fire everybody who's annoying. That's not the case, but just really making sure they fit and align with our business and our model and our plan and really the way we treat people and residents, especially. Customer service is huge to us. So that's kind of one of my, what do they say? The non-computer, I'm drawing a blank. That's one of my non-negotiables,
Yep.
is really when you start mistreating residents, I can't do it. I just do it as a human. I morally don't want to do it. So that's a big one for us, and just really making sure that we're doing that. And I want teams to always feel that way too. I never want them to be in a spot where they feel like, what are we doing here? Why did we, was the $3,000 management fee more important than our character and our morale and holding our heads high at the end of the day? And we're trying to really balance that. It's tough as a startup business. Sometimes you just follow the money. And so it's been tough for us as we balance out. So I feel like year 5 is kind of an exciting one for us. It's been a tough start as we right size, but I feel like we're really headed into a good, strongest teams we've ever had, strongest leadership we've had. And I'm really excited to see kind of where it goes from here. I really feel like we're on a path to grow. We're just under contract to buy another, hopefully, apartment deal. If anyone knows anyone interested in investing in apartments, there's my shameless plug for that too. You know how to find me after this. But yeah, we're growing and really having fun along the way. Our big thing is value add. We're not buying the sexy, front of the cover of the Units magazine ad. We're getting 60s and 70s product, renovating it and making people's homes nicer for them and affordable still. And really have found a sweet spot in doing that. We figured out how to do renovations pretty well in-house, and kind of have it running. So we're really excited to continue to grow that machine. And we'd like to use technology and other things to get us there. So we're always creative and looking at new things. And you talked about fraud protection earlier. Like, it's something we're looking at pretty heavily now. There's a lot of different solutions out there. And it's a tough season, and you've really got to protect yourself and your assets from all of that. And it's gotten a little bit harder, I think, in the last few years with everyone being remote and learning different things, and the availability of fake stubs and all that stuff so easily at your fingertips now is insane. So,
well, I would love to you kind of talked like growth, you talked investing. I'd love to kind of use that as our close today, Aaron, and just kind of give you the floor. If there's anything you'd like to share with the audience, whether it's specific size assets that your team would be interested in talking to, whether it's third party or a potential, ownership discussion, maybe a call to action for investors. A lot of the listeners in the show are limited partners for a lot of the big syndications and multifamily.
Yep.
I'd love just to kind of give you the floor before we close today.
Yeah. So I'm, one of the things I'm trying to do, I just bought is it DJI Osmo, like stabilizer? You'll probably know what that is. So I watch guys like Mike and Tony from RPM and all these guys on LinkedIn, and I'm like, oh man, I got to try to do a little bit more, instead of just posting when I have a job available. So I got one of those. I'm going to start a YouTube channel this year. This is my whole plan, and talk through like our renovations and some stuff we're doing, and just give people, it's going to be a way for us to hopefully build our investor pool, but also communicate what's happening. And, here's how we're repositioning this building. So I'm going to keep watching you and Tony and all your podcasts and really get a good grasp on it and try this tool out. So, but yeah, we're excited to grow on that front. We're looking at, pretty much we need to have 100 units or more so that we can justify staffing on a purchase or a managed asset, and looking for anything third party. We're Midwest right now. Everything we have is in Metro Detroit. We are looking to expand this year. We've been looking into other drivable markets, anything that's within driving distance of us. So anywhere from here to Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus, I don't know. We're trying to stay out of Chicago. There's a lot of players there already. But just kind of the Midwest tertiary markets and seeing, what's out there and really want to keep growing in Midwest. And we like to manage everything we own, which is why we want to stay drivable. It just makes it easier for us if I can hop in the car, even if I hop in at 6 a.m. and I can be there shortly after they open for the day. It's nice to be there and be able to be present with teams and not have to worry about flying and logistics of all of that stuff. So that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to continue to get a few more third-party clients that we can continue to grow with, who really, again, see eye to eye with us and really want that extra attention on their asset. And then again, as we build our investor pool for people who want to be on our sponsor side, it's something that's very open as well as we continue to invest and do some good deals. So, yeah.
Awesome, Aaron. Well, you've been an amazing guest. And before we close, I'm curious, do you have any questions for me?
Mike, you're doing, I admittedly am not totally caught up on your podcast, but you're doing something new now, right? And you had a week without email, which is really what I want to hear about, because I don't think you've ever had a week without email. So tell me about that life.
Yeah. So on Monday, I'm joining Apartment List as Chief Sales Officer and announcing tomorrow publicly. Tomorrow is April 11th. And decided to take a couple weeks just to have a floating period. And it's been weird, man. I mean, I think in a good way and in a bad way, I've really prided myself on being like a very responsive support system for my teams. And that's meant when my phone call, rings, I typically answer unless I'm like in the middle of something awesome with the kids or whatever it might be.
Right.
And I've just not had a reason the last 10 days to pick up the phone. It's so weird. Like, it's like I keep picking it up.
You're waiting for something to blow up that you don't know about.
So. Yeah, but it's been awesome. It's been a privilege, and it's also been a really nice way to recharge before, the next run.
Family time is just so important. I can't say that enough. Even if I don't know, no matter what your family situation is, find somebody to spend time with that you don't have to talk about work and that, you can just be real with and have fun with. It's so important to that work-life balance is so important. It's so hard in this industry. It's something that's talked about, like you said earlier, way on LinkedIn about than it is to actually do and have teams doing. So, yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, well, you've been an amazing guest. I'm really, really excited to share this and also to keep a pulse on your continued growth. And thank you a ton for joining us today, Aaron.
Thanks, Mike. Have a great day.